Hello, hello. Welcome to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
I'm Ellie.
And this is episode 8, part 3 of A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Whoa.
Ellie, are you excited?
Less excited than the previous ones, but more excited. I don't know. Like, I love all these chapters, but as we were going through them, I was like, not a lot of romance, but there's a lot of action. So,
okay, I thought you told me outside of this podcast, I thought you told me that you like the action and stuff more.
I don't.
Oh.
I might have said that, but I might have been lying to you.
I might have said that, but I was lying.
My true feelings are I really like the romance. That really seals the deal for a book for me. Agreed. Action, though, but if there's no action, then it's like I don't want to just read romance. I want both. But when there's too much of one, then I'm sad.
That makes sense. Actually, yeah. I agree. I feel the same way. I do think that if I had the ability to write, if I wrote a book, my perfect book or my perfect storyline would be like 60% romance, 40%
good ratio,
like action.
Yep.
Like I like having the action and everything in there. It keeps you on your toes. But if there's like you said, like the main reason I like to read books is because I like the romance aspect of it. So
yeah,
if there's not enough of that, then I'm not going to stay interested.
And
I think that's part of why this is like my third favorite book.
Yeah. Well, and I'm also sad that it's ending. Like,
yeah,
the series isn't ending. I mean, obviously she's even writing another book right now, but the main story is ending, what we all signed up for. So that makes me sad, true. But it's an excellent ending. So I'm excited to talk about it nonetheless.
I agree. And I am very excited to talk about the last book. I know we have one in between, but I'm very excited to start A Court of Silver Flames.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
All right.
So jumping in.
Got a lot to talk about today.
So where we ended at the last episode and where this one picks off is with Feyre meeting with this. She realized at the end of the last episode she needs to meet with the Suriel to figure out where Hybern's armies are. And so where we pick up is her setting the trap, finding it. And it tells her that it can't find Hybern's armies because he's using the magic of the cauldron to cloak it. But Nesta can find it by scrying bones because like calls to like, quote unquote. Yep. I don't know if this is just you. This made me think of a Ouija board. Like, I don't know what scrying bones. I mean, I feel like from movies and stuff, it's like, I don't know, like rolling dice, but just bones.
I'm looking it up. Scrying definition: foretelling the future using a crystal ball or other reflective objects. So I've seen something like this in the movie Stardust with Michelle Pfeiffer and Claire.
No, I've never seen the movie.
Oh, it's excellent. It's excellent. Well, but they do something where they take bones and dice and like throw it onto the table, and then that tells them their future. So I pictured that more than like a Ouija board.
Okay, so yes, I pictured more like, I mean, if we're going to be technical, more like Monopoly than a Ouija board when it comes to like throwing the bones. But it gave Ouija board vibes for me because of what it was kind of trying to do.
Yeah, I think I categorize that all in the same realm of just
okay, me too.
Weird
of things I'm not gonna do.
Let me tell you what, you won't find one of those in my house.
Absolutely not today, Satan.
No.
Not
Rebuke
today.
You, Satan.
No, okay. I just made me think of something else. Did you ever, growing up, do like the Bloody Mary thing in the mirror?
No, but in a way, yes.
No, but yes.
We did something similar, but it wasn't Bloody Mary, but we would go into the bathroom and then like, it was like dangerous. No, it was like legitimately dangerous because we would like hold our breath as long as we could. And then like they would do something to your eyes. I don't remember. Then you go out into the blinding light and whoever passed out was like, I don't know.
I honestly think you should have done Bloody Mary.
I know, probably instead. But no, I wouldn't do that. That scared me. The other thing obviously didn't.
That scared you, but okay. Well, I did it once at a sleepover in like 3rd grade.
Did you see anything?
And when
Happy Halloween. Did you see anything?
Happy Halloween. Honestly, it's coming up. I did not. It's fake. But when I tell you that you could probably actually see my heart beating from outside of my body, I've never, to this day, it's still probably one of the most scared that I've
You've
ever
ever
been
been?
in my life, was just
Wow.
sitting there, and because you have to say it 3 times. So, like, you say it once, and then, like,
Mhm.
you say it again, and the realization that, like, "Oh my gosh, it's just one more time, and then I'm dead." Like, that's and I'm doing this willingly. That
I like, honestly, I know that I know that I know that a lot of that stuff is fake. Like
Yeah,
Beetlejuice, right? But am I gonna just say it? Why risk
just in
anything?
case.
I don't wanna. I don't need that in my life.
I know that it's not real, but I don't wanna do it.
Yeah. Just why not err on the side of safety in every and all situations?
Agreed.
That's my
Well,
motto.
that's what the Surreal tells Feyre that that's the only way that they're gonna be able to find where their armies are. Um,
Oh, is by scrying.
and yeah, by scrying the bones.
Yeah.
So the Feyre also mentions the Surreal that the Carver wants you're gonna have to help me. I don't know why I can never say this.
Or
The
Boris.
Ouroboros mirror.
Mhm.
Um, and she doesn't know what it is, and so the Surreal tells her that she is the only one who can decide if it's going to break her or not.
Serial tells Feyre to tell Amryn that the answer lies on the second page of the book and that together they hold the key. Then the Serial is about to tell her what she needs to do to stop Hybern, and an ash arrow bursts through its throat. Ianthe is there with 2 Hybern soldiers. Did you explode during this portion or what?
Well, of course, I mean, you know how I feel about Ianthe.
Mhm.
Hater guts. So absolutely. I also was not expecting it.
Me
Like
either. She shouldn't have
the
come back.
Surreal, well, not of course not, but the Surreal also felt like such a side character
Yeah.
in this. So for there to be like such a dramatic death, it
Yeah.
was shocking
Yeah.
for me.
I read that and was like, "Why possibly?"
I
Um
know.
okay, so since they were in the middle, which is
Mhm.
the area that's like ungoverned by Fae, basically. Feyre leads Ianthe and the soldiers that accompanied her to the Weaver's house where they met their demise. Did you like this ending for Ianthe? Because I did.
Absolutely. I First off, I love that Feyre talks to the Weaver when they're there, and the Weaver says, "What did you bring me?" And Feyre, like a BA, just goes, "Dinner,"
And
and then leaves and like closes the door and traps them all in there.
traps them in
And
there. It's so good.
and and I just love like how like this entire like running through the woods, getting to the Weaver, all of that happening, and then closing the door took about a page and a half, maybe 2 pages. Like it was a quick little segment,
Clean
and
death.
Ianthe's it
Not
was
clean for
quick and
Ianthe, but a clean, like a quick just, let's do it.
just and then she's just done. Like
Yeah.
that was it. And I love because she is such a pointless character in my story, my
My
opinion of this
personal
story.
story of reading these
my person
stories. Yeah.
at exactly. And so I
Mhm.
love that she felt like she was all that and she was going to do big things, but not today. Nope, she
Yeah.
just was done. And
Yep.
then that was that. And she's hardly referenced after this.
Loved it.
So
So
just
then
done.
Feyre runs back to the cereal and it is not
Mm.
looking good. And this part was so, so sad. And truly it rocked, I think, everyone who read this because I've seen all the, we're very in
Yeah.
with the book talk and bookstagram memes, all that. And
Yep.
this ripped apart our worlds. We never thought we'd love this little ugly creature as much as we do. How did you, on a scale from 1 to 10, how sad were you?
Oh gosh. Like an 8, but like a surprising 8 because
Hmm.
I think if you had asked me, "Hey, the cereal dies, how are you going to feel?" I'd be like 2.
Yeah.
Like I don't that's sad.
Yeah.
But it was the way she wrote its death
Hmm.
was so, and I just, and how the Surreal says, like, well, because it has like a Reese moment where like Reese explains why he did everything he did and
Hmm.
seemed bad. The Surreal explains like the Surreal knew that Feyre was trying to trap him like every single time, but it just
Hmm.
came because she was kind and nice. And I'm like, it gave feelings to something that you would have really expected to not have feelings. And
Right.
then that's okay. I know we jumped the gun a little bit in previous episodes, but at this point in the book is when Feyre learns that um the Surreal really like revealed that when it said stay with the High Lord, He was talking about Rhys, not
She picked
Tamlin.
the wrong High Lord. Well, originally she got it together, but
She
oh
did.
man,
But that,
that
and then also, like, as it's dying, it just tells her to leave the world in a better place than she found it.
mm-hmm,
Ugh. Like, I'm feeling
mm-hmm.
sad all over again thinking about it.
Yeah,
You just wouldn't
I
expect that from this
I
creature.
definitely cried a little bit reading this. Not crazy, but I
Yeah,
shed a tear or two. Mm-hmm.
I agree. So, what did you think then about the moving forward,
Yeah.
about the cauldron being able to see them after they open the quote unquote door for it? They're
So this
back at the
was
camp.
yeah. This is when they scribed those bones and
Yep.
Nesta she was super reluctant. She didn't think she could do it, but then she was able to scribe
Well,
them and she
Feyre,
started
no, Feyre, she said, she's like, I can't do it. And then Feyre used her powers to like look in her mind, and
yes.
Feyre's able to see everything through
Yeah.
Nesta.
Yeah. So but in doing that, Feyre like saw the cauldron and it basically looked
Mhm.
back and then all of a sudden they stop everything and she's like something's wrong, something's really wrong, and they realize that Elaine was taken, right?
Well, yeah, so that's, yeah. Feyre's like, something's wrong. She wakes up. She wakes up the next morning like feeling like something's not okay,
Mhm.
and that's when she realizes that they opened the mental door or whatever for the cauldron to see where their armies are at.
Yeah. So like they saw
And
Hybern's army, but then it
yeah,
looked back and saw where they were at too. So then it came and took Elaine. And I'm just gonna be
well, it
so
like it lured Elaine out by
yeah.
Greg making her see Grayson and saying like, I still love you," like,
Oh, good
yeah.
memory.
And
Yeah.
that's how it dragged her back to Hybern's camp and then
Here
trapped
we
her.
go. You know what I'm gonna say, and I'm just gonna say I'm gonna rip it off like a
I
band-aid.
was gonna I wasn't even gonna add it into any of the questions because I feel like we've just crapped on her so much.
I didn't care that she was gone. I was like, let's move on. We got rid of another problem.
Hybern actually solved another problem for us. Like, let's keep this going.
Oh my gosh. The
I
fact that
didn't
they made a
think
big deal
that.
and they were like, we have to go after her. I was like, but do we?
I will say, as annoying as she was starting to get a little bit better at this point in the book, and I agree. Like, I would have been like, we have to go get her. Like, well, only not if less because of her, but more because of what they're capable of. And I
Okay,
would have a
what
hard time just
Hybern's
letting,
army's
yeah,
capable of. I thought you meant
yeah,
like
like
what
I'd have a
Elaine and
hard
Nesta
time.
were capable of, and I was like,
No.
they're not adding much.
No. Like what
Okay.
Hybern and his armies are capable of,
Yes.
because I would have a hard time if I knew someone that I was like close to, even if
Well,
you
yeah,
didn't
if we're
love them
doing
that
this with
much.
real people, yeah, anybody we should go after.
Well,
But
I'm
it's
putting myself in Feyre's shoes.
but yeah,
I'm
I
just saying I
guess.
get it. I would have said the same thing. I don't know if I would have been the one to go get her like Feyre was, but I agree we would have been like, hey,
We would have created
someone
some
needs to go.
resources to go get her.
Who's someone that we could do without that we can risk to go get her. That's where
Well,
I was at.
they deemed Feyre and Azriel
Azrael
being the ones.
volunteered
Yes.
because he cloaked himself with his shadows.
Which was I thought this was a cool aspect because we've never no, we have. We saw Feyre and Azriel training to fly. So
Yeah.
in that they have been spending more time. But Feyre and Azriel haven't ever been on like a battle mission. Like Feyre and Mor have, Feyre and Amryn have, Feyre
Mhm.
and Rhys, obviously. Even Cassian and Feyre went down to the Bone Carver, but Feyre and Azriel haven't
Well, that wasn't like
done
a
much.
battle mission though.
But he always messes with her, so you kind of
Yeah, you're
you
right.
get their relationship. Azriel's, moody and quiet. So this was a
Well,
cool
Azrael's moody and quiet with like everyone though,
everybody.
even his
Yeah.
brothers.
Yeah, it's just his character, but to say like they've never connected too much, I felt like in the
True.
book until
Yeah.
he started teaching her to fly it. But this was a cool thing that they got to do this rescue together. So I liked that it was that combination of people.
I did too. I also I don't know, maybe you can either explain this to me better or I'm just gonna get hate for this. I don't know, but because when they go to get her,
Mhm.
Feyre uses her powers because no one knows Ianthe died yet, because that just happened. So she cloaks herself, using glamours, whatever, uses it to look like Ianthe. But Azriel's like, I have my shadows. I can just like stay. He's just like next to her with his shadows. I'm like, he's not invisible. I didn't understand how that cloaked him. But like, he's just walking right next to her in his shadows. Like, at
No,
least how I pictured it in my head, how I pictured when they say, because they've talked about his shadows before. They've talked about him like seeing his shadows creeping over his shoulders, like all that stuff. I pictured it being like octopus legs, like
ew.
shadows.
No.
Well, don't they use the
Davy Jones moment?
Not like from his, like, he doesn't have like a tentacle beard, but like just like from around, like out the sides of him, like just like wisps of shadows. That's kind of how I pictured it.
No. Okay.
Didn't they use the word tendrils like at some point to explain it?
I don't know. But have you seen Princess and the Frog?
Absolutely, I have. That's one of my favorite Disney movies.
So you know the
Shadow Man.
The Shadow Man, yeah, that's his name. You know how like all his shadows, they go out, and that's what I picture, but Azriel can turn himself into one of those too. So they're all like little wisps in the darkness.
I guess, but like when those shadows aren't invisible though either. You can see them on the ground.
So but not in the dark.
I guess. Yeah, you're right. Okay. I that's just not how I pictured it. So that's why I'm like, how was no one seeing? I didn't think he was like I didn't think it was him just walking, but I pictured it being like just a black shadow kind of walking, and I'm like, how is no one seeing this? Like,
have you seen like when kids dress up as Peter Pan and the parents dress up as the Shadow, and it's basically a black morph suit just behind them,
but they just stand behind them?
Yeah,
I haven't, but I can imagine it.
That's what I'm seeing.
Okay, but yes, that's kind of like exactly. So anyways, that makes more sense now. That's just not how I pictured it when I was reading. So that was one thing where I was kind of like, I don't know about this.
Well, so they go to the camp. Rhys can't go, which is sad and dangerous because anytime Rhys is not part of the equation, I'm like this.
Something's gonna happen.
Whole lot more dangerous. Yeah, but they eventually
and dun dun dun, it does.
Yeah, it does. They get Elaine.
Yeah.
And as they were running to escape, Feyre gets hit by an ash arrow. And plot twist of the century, Tamlin comes to her rescue. Redemption arc for him, a little. Like, not enough for me during the story. I was like, nah. But as I've like sat on his whole story and seen other people's side, now I'm like, he should get a redemption story. But that's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Tamlin also helps her fly away by creating a breeze for her. Did you expect that from him?
I didn't. So when I was reading this, like, she's running. Azriel had Elaine and that other girl that they were rescuing, that they just randomly decided to rescue. And he's like trying to fly away. She gets beat with an ash arrow. I was like, we still had a decent chunk of the book left. I know that I was like, she's gonna get captured. Like, something's gonna happen. There's gonna be a plot twist. Rhys isn't there. So I did not see Tamlin coming at all.
Yeah.
And like when they're like, but then when they started to explain like a creature was coming, I was like, that's kind of like the creature that Tamlin was. Like, I think I pieced it together before we actually realized like who was rescuing her. But I don't know if I liked it, truthfully.
I'm gonna be honest. I think when I was reading it, I didn't want him to start being the good guy again. Like, I was like, keep him the bad guy because he's a good bad guy, and I love to hate him.
It was too fresh. It was too fresh. Like, I mean, it was the last. We were just at the High Lords meeting where he verbally berated her in front of everyone, and like then again, all of a sudden, just gonna come and be like, "I'm sorry, let me save you from this ash arrow." Like, I don't know. It felt to me, you know what this felt like? Like an alpha. Beta. I don't know. Like that type of guy that like I don't know. This is, maybe I shouldn't say this, but just like, obviously he didn't do this, but someone who like beats people up and then is like, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. Yeah. And then
it's just
does
like
it again.
Pattern.
And it's like, exactly. It just made him, to me, feel more toxic.
You know, and if we look back through his past, He kind of does do that.
He
Like, when
doesn't.
he
He does exactly
exploded
what he
and it threw
does.
her against the desk and was like, "I'm so sorry, baby. Baby, I'm so sorry, come back." And then he
Exactly.
did another super jerk thing and then was like, "But I'm so sorry, stay in the house." Yeah, could be.
That's that really, I mean, so I was like, I didn't love it. I mean, I'm glad she got out of there, but
Yeah.
I
Well, and
wish it
then
had been like Lucian came out of nowhere and saved her or something like
nah,
that.
we don't
Like,
need him. I'd rather Tamlin.
I would so much rather be Lucian than Tamlin.
We cultural differences. So then Feyre looks back, sees Tamlin leap off the cliff and winnow away. So he kind of made it to his own safety as well because
Yeah.
everyone would be after him after that. They all make it back to the Illyrian camp, but both Feyre and Az are injured.
Hmm.
Um, and then Nesta appears, throw her arms around Feyre, sobbing and thanking her, which was wow. Nesta does not show any emotion or
I
like Feyre
know.
at all. So that was really cute.
Yeah.
Um, and then Feyre heals, and Elaine, Nesta, and Feyre all laid together in the bed like they did back in the cottage. And I thought that was really sweet.
I know. I really like that part. And I was really hopeful that this was like the beginning of their like
Healing
sisterly
story.
bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
It
wasn't, though.
wasn't.
Spoiler, it was not.
It sure wasn't. But it was a sweet moment. I did like
Yeah.
that. And
It gives you
yeah.
hope. Like, it gives you, like,
Yeah.
they have feelings. Like, Nesta's not all
Teasville.
cold and heartless. Yeah. And, Elaine is loved and Feyre is loved. So that was sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
Um, all right. You want to read the next portion?
Sure. So they figure out that Elaine, Nesta, Amryn, and Feyre all need to touch the cauldron together in order to stop Hybern and his armies. But in order to do that, they need to fight Hybern and distract him so that they can get close.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, Feyre knows okay, fighting like is inevitable. There's no way we're gonna stop this before this happens. So she realizes like I have to go get the carver. Um, so she, in order to do that, leaves to get the mirror. While she's in the Court of Nightmares, she finds it. She looks into the mirror and she just sees herself. But then all of a sudden, she sees a massive like beast behind her. She describes it as having claws, scales, and fur. I'm not gonna lie, I had a really hard time picturing whatever this creature looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the description that we got in this book, so I pictured a panther, even though I know that that's
I pictured a panther.
twins. But like I know that
Yeah.
that's not as creepy as whatever it was that she saw, but I had a really hard time picturing something that was like a fish but a bird
Yeah.
but a lion. I was like so it jumps on her though in the mirror and then disappears and then she freaks out, kind of falls, gets up, looks in again, and then she realizes that she is the creature
Yeah.
and just staring at it. I didn't like that. Did
Okay.
you? I don't know. I felt like it was supposed to be this like grand like revelation that she was having about herself, and for me it was like she's just looking at it in the mirror. I don't know. I feel like it was supposed to hit deeper, and I was
Um,
like,
no,
meh.
same exact thing. I thought this like they made this seem like such a big deal. But honestly,
Exactly.
when you kind of have like just fatigue of the
Yeah,
drama. Like I was kind
that's
of at this point because
exactly.
this book is fatty and this is towards the end and it's like we've already gone through they had to get or like, they just
Hmm.
dealt with the cereal. They had to go get Elaine. Tamlin's now maybe good. We don't know. And then it's just so much happening. And then
Yeah.
now this is something that they've been foreshadowing for so long if this is gonna be a horrible, horrible thing. And when it was just like a beast, I was like, hey,
It
what
not even
gives?
a beast. It was her. So like,
Yeah.
but like even when the back when they originally were talking to Bone Carver about it, like it breaks everyone that looks at it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't face yourself.
I
Like,
know.
I don't know. To me, that felt even. I agree with you. Absolutely, it was like drama fatigue,
Yeah.
100%. But even more so than that, like I think what it was supposed to represent was
Mm-hmm.
like it was like we kind of like
Mm-hmm.
it did not land. I was like, I don't know. I get it. We're all our own worst enemies, but that felt like it was a really built up thing for something that wasn't that dramatic.
Yeah.
And then she just takes it. But I will say, when she does bring it to the carver and he says that he didn't actually need the mirror, but he knew that she did because he wanted to see if she was worth helping, I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was cute.
Yeah.
I did like so it saved it a little bit, but it was like multiple pages of her going up these stairs and looking in this mirror and all that stuff for it to be like, and I realized it was me. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
all right. So with all that being said, if we could look into the mirror and see for each other. So like I'm looking in the mirror for you. What do you think you would see for me? And
Like
I'll
if
tell
we
you what I
Freaky
think I'd see for
Friday
you.
and you would
If we not even necessarily if we Freaky Friday, if it's just like if instead of seeing yourself, you saw your friend or something, like what do you think the reflection would look like for me if you were looking in the mirror?
Are we talking like an animal, like what Feyre saw, or are we making up like a mythical creature, or am I saying like traits I would see?
I think I pictured an animal just because that's kind of what I because I pictured a panther like
I'd
when I
see you
was
as
reading this.
like a lion, deer, bunny.
Oh,
Final
okay.
answer.
Final answer. Good answer. Good answer. Um, okay. Do explain.
Lion, because you've got that side to you.
Thank
You'll
you.
kill somebody. Bunny, because you're so cute. And deer, because I don't know, your face shape, maybe? Just kidding.
Oh my gosh. um.
I think because you're
Okay.
so gentle with your kiddos. So that's why I
Oh.
see that. Mm-hmm.
Um. Well, I might. Okay. I wasn't as descriptive. I actually did for you though. I was
So you
thinking
hate me.
deer. No, I just wasn't getting that
Is it because of my
deep.
face shape?
Yes. No. It's because I feel like sometimes in we've talked about this before, you hate people before you love them, but in a similar way, deer are kind of skittish. I feel like
Mm.
sometimes about new things or new people, you can kind of be like, I'm going to run away. But then when you don't, you're great and it's super sweet and they're sweet
Then
and
I'm like a
then
deer
you're
at a deer
Bambi.
farm. Yeah. I don't remember that movie.
Well,
I don't know if that should be a compliment or not. I'll come
no,
back and
no,
let
I
you
just
know after I watch it.
Bambi's sweet. Like everyone loves Bambi.
I don't think I
That's what I
love
meant by that.
Bambi.
Oh, well, then you should look in the mirror.
We can't both be deer.
Well,
Pick
that's
me
what I
another one.
oh, I'm
It has to be a hybrid animal. It can't just be one
okay.
animal.
Gosh, I'm not gonna be able to think of that on the spot. All right. A hybrid animal. First, okay, you're a bee, and a what breed are your dogs? Sheepadoodle.
That is one ugly animal. Okay. A sheep, a bee doodle, deer.
A sheepabee.
Love it. All right.
Yep.
As they were going into battle, as gives Elaine his sword, the truth teller, since his wings were
Mhm.
still injured, and he wants her to have some form of defending herself and just to like give her
Yeah.
courage. I think
Yeah.
Reese makes a comment that it's the first time he's ever seen Az let someone even touch truth teller. So, what do we think about that? Do we think that's foreshadowing or
We
just him
absolutely
being
do.
nice?
No, because I think for me, like this is especially again another like potential
Sure.
little nugget of foreshadowing after even in like the previous part of this book when they mention, oh well, what happens when if you like Nesta's like, can you refuse a mate? And then not only like, yeah, you can, they specifically say it's more common for females to do it,
Hmm.
aka Elaine's not feeling Lucian.
Hmm.
Then they bring up like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a fight to the death. I don't like it just feels like they've potentially like left the door open for that to happen too
Hmm.
many times now at this point for it to not be foreshadowing, in
Can I
my
let's
humble opinion.
let's talk about mates really quick. Why
Mm,
would okay? You have eternity, so like not eternity. Well, yeah, eternity. As long as
unless
they
they're
don't get
not
killed.
immortal, yes, you're
But
gonna live for a
okay,
while unless you die,
let's just
unless you get
presume you
killed.
have all this time. Your mate, as described, is someone who is perfectly matched to you, both in
Hmm.
power and will and mentally and all of that.
Yeah,
Why not just because we've seen it obviously work out really well for Reese and Feyre, and I know Elaine doesn't necessarily know that 100% yet, but why would not just give your mate a chance to see? Because
I
that could be
know.
the best relationship of your entire life. And to be like, I don't really, I don't really feel like it.
No,
Why?
you are in my head. I That's what I was saying the whole time. I'm like, why is she giving Lucian? I mean, I get it. She's newly Fae, so she doesn't like fully understand, I
Yeah.
guess, all of that. But regardless, I mean, someone had to have explained it to her at some point. Like,
Mhm.
oh, this is just the universe telling you that this is the most perfect person that you could possibly be with. And then,
Yeah.
just being like, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with this person. Like,
Oh
I
my
agree.
gosh.
Like,
Okay, so I
trust the
couldn't
process,
find
Elaine.
that
Trust the process.
I couldn't find that Professor McGonagall reel, so I think I'm just gonna make one this week about Elaine
Mhm.
being immortal and this beautiful, drop dead gorgeous Fey being with a mate from the get-go, and then she's still
Yeah.
sitting there complaining and, like, being sad about her life. Grow up.
Please do it. I'm excited for it.
Okay, let's move on.
Um, let's do it. But yeah, so then Feyre, the fighting has begun. Like
Mhm,
they're starting to or about to.
mhm.
And Feyre tells Reese that she secretly got Briaxis and the Bone Carver to fight with them. And
Mm.
she shows him her new tat for the bargain.
Which is a
I would
spine tattoo.
Yes, talked about it in a previous episode. This is
Yes,
where it comes in. And it's like a
and
moon, like eclipsing. Like there's
yep.
like 4 pieces of it. Love
How
it.
many tattoos have you seen online since you've read this that you're like, "Oh, that's that?" Because I
This is
feel
the only
like
one. This is the only one that I'm like, okay, this is really cute. I think the most common one I see is the mountain with the
the
3
mountains.
stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think it's too, like, mainstream to get a tattoo that was exactly defined in the book. So
okay, I
I
did
don't think I
see
would do
one
that.
actually that I thought was really cute, but I would never want to just like straight up copy someone. But I
Uh-huh.
saw this girl, she drew her own, and it
Mhm.
was like a stamp, and it had
The
Valaris.
Valaris? I saw that, and
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was.
I would do a stamp. Okay,
Yeah, I was like, this is
maybe
cute,
maybe
but I
maybe we
would never want
consider
to
the
copy
possibility
someone's.
of that. No, but you can
Well,
do
yeah,
a stamp of something else within the
totally.
book. The Weaver's Cottage, I
That just
don't
feel
tempt
like
me.
that doesn't. Don't tempt. I don't know. That doesn't feel big enough. Anyways, I don't know. Let's keep going. But so they get the fight, and then Reese drops this little bomb that he made a bargain with the Weaver
Mhm.
to fight with them too. And that to me just felt like a winning starting lineup. What were you thinking when now you have all these 3 like creatures that are also defending
I
like
loved
with
it.
you?
I thought, wow, like, I genuinely for the first time was like, "They might have a chance." All these more than immortal creatures, because they define them as they
Mhm.
were there, like, since the beginning of time, and then a
Yeah.
little later, those armies started showing up. It was Baron's army and Tamlin's and Grayson's,
Mhm.
led by Jurian, who's this incredible warrior, so everyone says. And so, yeah, so at this point, I was like, "They have a pretty good chance at
Yeah.
winning
But
this because
then
that's a lot of power."
agreed. And I also though I was a little surprised that Jurian talked Grayson into it. And then I that made me for a split second just made me nervous that he was going to be more of like a part of the story since Elaine already couldn't get over him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that very quickly faded.
Yeah.
um and then Nesta, oh, this part, Nesta realizes that Hybern's like revving up the cauldron to start
Because
using
she
it.
feels it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's made from it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so she looks up at the sky and yells to Cassian. And I love this part because it's that in the book it says that she called for him because she knew that he would come, knew that
Mhm.
he would like look for her. And by doing that, like immediately after, he shoots in the sky and like destroys the entire legion that he was
Yeah.
army that he was fighting with and of Illyrians, which was so sad. But also, I was like, I can't believe she just saved him. Did you What are you thinking here? Do we see some more foreshadowing happening at this point? Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Well, they've been like Asriel and Elaine, they're somewhat hinting, but genuinely, I didn't think
Yeah.
there was enough to like it could go any way at this point. It's not enough to be like, hey, they're definitely gonna be in a relationship at some point. But
Yeah.
And Nesta and Cassian, they dropped it everywhere they could that Nesta and
I know.
Cassian
Well, and it
were
was
meant
like
to be
really
together.
but it was really heavy on Cassian's side, and he's
Mhm.
also flirty. I feel like this was like one of the first times
Mm,
where we feel it from okay, maybe this could be a both-sided
right. And you
thing.
also didn't know kind of where Moore stood in all of this because she was kind of
Yeah.
flirty with both Asriel and Cassian.
Yeah, but we
So,
know that she's just flirty.
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Um, and because Feyre's had multiple conversations with her.
Mhm.
But anyways,
Yeah, and all that flared up.
yeah. So then they hear another horn blast, and but then not a good horn blast because it's Hybern's armada of ships coming in. But then right after, they hear a third blast of a horn, and they see thousands of winged soldiers heading towards them, and it's another armada, but it's way bigger, and they realize it's Dracon.
I
I
call
don't
him
know why I can never
Draken.
say it.
I call him Draken.
I think I said Dracon. Whatever.
It might
They're
be
his
right. I
legion
don't know.
of ships filled with him and Mirian's people. And for me, this is that point in the movie where they're fighting. They're thinking they're gonna lose, and then all of a sudden, someone like comes out of nowhere to save them, and then like the fight song starts going, and
Oh, good one. Yeah. Yep.
and then like
Final
everyone
countdown.
like starts throwing bows and just really is like taking them down. That's
Yeah.
I got so worked up in a good way. Like
Yeah.
when this happened, reading it, I was like, yes.
Do you have your book open, you like read something like that, you close it, you're like, ah, and then you just go back? Because that's
Yes,
me a
I'm
lot.
pretty sure I didn't do that here. I got too excited to want to close
Yeah.
my book, but it was that feeling of like, finally, just
Yeah.
like relief. Like, oh my gosh, I was so stressed
Dude,
reading
sometimes
this.
my emotions take over and like I
Mm-hmm.
can't see another page until I like get some energy out because I'm too worked up. Like it's so exciting or I'm so grieving in the book or something just devastating. It's just too much.
It's
I'm
too
too into
much.
this.
um, but have you ever had a moment like that in your life where you're feeling you keep beaten down, you're beaten down, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden the fight song comes on, and you're like, I have hope, maybe.
Um, no. How about you?
I was gonna say it's a hard no for me too. I wish my life was like a movie
I
sometimes.
know. I mean, in like the most undramatic way, like, oh, there's no cilantro left at the grocery store, and then like the guy comes around the corner with like the full box of like cilantro to restock, and I'm like, da na na na, da na na na.
That's your fight song.
That's it for me. That's my
That's
suburban life,
hilarious.
baby.
Oh yeah. That's yeah, there's not gonna be a bigger one for me either. Um but
So like, I
oh,
get
I just
it.
love it. And then I love the side conversation that they have when Dracon meets and talks with Reese. And
Mhm.
he's like, I heard rumors of a war. Like, Reese, you could have asked for help. And he
Mhm.
was like, yeah, I did. Like, I went there and no one was there. And he goes, oh, yeah, I forgot. We just casually glamored the island 300 years ago. So everyone approaching would just see like ruins and think that no one's there and go home.
Yep.
I love that they were there the whole time. Like, they went out to go get them. They were
That
there, but they
I
assumed that they
loved
weren't.
that, and I loved like the trickery. Yes, at the end of the
Hmm.
day, cool.
Yeah.
But like I just I can't even it's not cheap writing. That's not how I feel.
It's not.
I don't think I can put like words to the feeling I have about I there was just something about it that I'm like, it should have been more crafty or harder or better or easier to find. I can't decide. But something is unsettling about the fact that they were just there.
It felt easy. I agree. But I
Like,
liked it.
sure, yeah.
I just liked how they were joking about it. Like, hey man, you could have come and asked for help. And he was like, I did. Like, what do you mean? Did you forget that you weren't there?
Yeah,
And he was like, oh wait, I forgot. We just happily glamored the island. It just was like,
right.
what? It just felt like a really like because they're friends. I don't know. It felt like a really to
Mhm.
me, I got like a really lighthearted feeling from it. And so I thought it was funny. But
Yeah.
it did feel kind of like easy. Like, oh yeah, casually just forgot that no one can see us. I guess after 300 years, it's not uncommon to
Mhm.
forget, but it feels like at that point, realizing why didn't they come for help? Oh yeah, probably because they didn't know where we were. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but in that conversation too, he also reveals that most of the armada isn't his. It's actually someone they met up
Masses.
with on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they learn that it's Vasa and Lucian is with her.
Right. Because
Um,
Lucian found the lost queen.
Sure did.
He's good for
Except,
something.
which we find out here very quickly, though, he found her, but it was after they had already started coming. They
Yes,
just
I
picked him up.
forgot. Yes. So he's not good for anything. They were already on the. He was just like, "Can I just come back with
Hey, I
you?"
was coming to look for you to ask you to do this. So can I get a ride?
Oh my gosh.
That is. I felt like
Biggest
that's like the
eye roll of my
story of his
life.
life.
I know. Like he's gonna be the hero of the day. He's like thinking all like I'm the main character. It's me. And then they're like, "Get in. We're going. Get in."
Okay, I know this probably isn't. I imagine that if this really happened and if he was a person, he would be like, I really hope. I'm just gonna roll and be like, "Hey guys, look what I did! I delivered, signed, seal, delivered. I did this." And then someone else would be like, "Yeah, no, he just met up with us." Like,
We picked him up
but
on the
like he's
way.
gonna want everyone to think like, "Look at I saved the
Have
day. I
you
brought the armada."
There is a John Mulaney joke, and I can't remember which one, but it ends with he goes, "But I." That's how I feel like what Lucian is. Like, I'm here to get the army. We're already going. But I.
Oh. Yes. But okay, but this leads in. So when we learn that though, oh my gosh, this part made me weep. Um Feyre realizes that her father is the one who found Vasa initially and recruited her because months before all this happened, he realized that the Mortal Queens were up to something and that they were liars and no good. So
Yep.
on his own, they thought he was on this merchant trip. On his own, he had been going around and recruiting people for his own independent human army. And that's when he came across Vasa and met up with Lucian and Draken and everything. But he had 3 ships of his own, and he named, well, because then he told Draken after they had started talking that he had 3 daughters that he failed and he didn't want to fail them again. Oh, and he named the ships Elaine, Feyre, and Nesta. But I love that he was captaining Nesta, the one who hated him the most, and he felt like he had failed the most. I know, man, I roll from you, I know, but I loved
Ugh,
this part. I
no.
loved
Are
how,
you
because I mean,
kidding me?
honestly,
He
I
comes
forgot about
back.
her dad. I
Yeah,
forgot
for
about him.
good reason. He's never been around. Nobody cared. He
Well,
literally.
exactly. He
Have
was
you
making up for
seen
lost time.
Have you seen Have you seen all the like reels? They're like, "Oh, Feyre's dad sitting in the broke down cottage whittling these disgusting, ugly little wooden toys," and he's like, "I gotta find a way to make money off of this." That's like all he
Yes.
was do. Wait, no, and you can't just come around now with this like redemption story of like, "Oh, I named these ships after my daughters." Okay, little bit of a spoiler, but not too much because it's really not that bad. Nesta gets pissed about this because she's like, "Who are you to ride on my name and become like the hero of the day?" And she was mad that like this was his way of redeeming himself. Same feelings. You can't just show up out of nowhere and be like, "But I'm here to help."
I'm not saying that she wasn't justified, and I mean we don't get into that really until like
Mhm.
the next book and mostly the 5th, but like I'm not saying she's not justified in those feelings, but as a reader consuming this story, I loved it was the character redemption that we didn't ask for or know that we needed. I felt
Mhm.
like it was cuz like we both like we forgot about him. I had completely forgot homie went on a merchant voyage anyways. He didn't, I mean, and I will say the one thing that I was questioning is he was gone before everything happened with Nesta and Elaine like being made and all of that,
Mhm.
and I want to know how he knew they were involved other than probably, I mean, I guess he probably learned after talking with Lucian and everyone like once he met up with them.
Mhm.
But outside of that, I'm just like I love that he was working behind the scenes to, I don't know, I coming, I guess, from like a loving like or not having like that like father relationship growing up. Like I liked that the redemption arc of it. I guess I don't know, but maybe
Hmm.
that's why maybe that's why I liked it more. I don't know, but it just was
I
so
just
good for me.
I love that for you. We're not on the same page.
What did you think of Nesta's plan to use her as like a bait and switch kind of thing to lure the king from the cauldron so that Amryn and Feyre could get close to it?
I genuinely liked Nesta's kind of build because she went from like, I'm not helping, I don't owe you anything, to
Yep.
this involves all of us, and almost becoming a little bit selfless. I know, not that she was
Mhm.
doing this necessarily for herself, but she saw the bigger picture of we're all going to die if we don't all work together in this. So I did like that a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
but yeah, that's when Cassian went with her, right?
Yeah, so like, she's like, I'll go like over here because the king will, since she's had took something from the cauldron, he'll be able to like feel her where she's going.
Mhm.
Um, but because he doesn't know how much she took from it.
Yeah.
Um, and she
I'm
says that if
thinking
she can make it
Hybern just
look like she's about to use its power, then
yeah.
he'll like want to come after her. And Cassian is like, I'm gonna go with you. Like,
Yeah, to like
and
fight him
Reese is
off.
like to guard her. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Reese is like, Reese thinks that they're both gonna die if they do this, but
Yes.
they're like, this is like our best shot. So
We missed something. It's not on our notes, but I remember it.
what?
When when Nesta calls out for Cassian, I believe that this is the part of when this happens. Nesta calls out for Cassian, remember? And
Yeah.
he, because she knew he would come, he comes and his whole legion gets like blown out of the sky and killed. So he's saved. Well, didn't he say to Nesta like, "Hey, don't worry, it's going to take a lot more than that to kill me," because she was crying for him.
Oh.
And Elaine said, "Who is a seer? No, it won't."
Yes, that did happen. I know. That was
Uh
like,
let's address.
well, I know. Well, that felt like foreshadowing to me too, and that made me so nervous because I love Cassian.
Yeah, foreshadowing for the rest of this book for sure. I was like on edge, but then the I think she might still kill him in future books,
Oh, maybe.
because
I hope
I don't
not.
think she just adds things like that and is like, never mind. I know he is one of my, he's, if not my most favorite. Him and Reese are tied for top for me.
Agreed. Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about that because that's sad.
That is sad, but something
um,
to think about.
but would you though? Would you do that? Is there anyone outside of like family that you would offer yourself up as bait for?
Hmm. No, just kidding.
I was waiting for that. I don't. Outside of family, honestly, I would for Cassian. I would
I
in
would
this
for Reese.
situation.
um,
I
that
would
is
for
a hard
fictional
question.
characters.
That's a hard question. Outside of family, like my immediate family, or like my husband too?
Is he not your immediate family?
I don't know what you would describe as
I would
immediate
say he's your
family.
most immediate family.
Okay, then perhaps not. Oh, I feel bad saying that.
I know, I feel bad
My
saying that too,
closest
but
friends,
like let's be
maybe.
real. Yeah, I would for you.
Wouldn't for me. You wouldn't. You would say, yeah, yeah, maybe I would.
I don't know. I need to know this.
Let's
I
just
need to
move
know
on before I
details.
cry. Keep going. I
Okay, so
need
the
to
plan's
know the
working.
I need to know the specifics of the sacrifice.
the plan the plan's working. The king goes to find Nesta. Feyre is tricked. Amryn was like, "Hey, we're both gonna touch it." Feyre touches it, Amryn doesn't, and she's like, "What's happening?" But then immediately, like, she sees into like what the cauldron sees,
And she
and she
can't get her
sees
hands
Reese.
off. She's frozen there.
She
She's
can't.
stuck.
She sees Reese. He's like in his like full beast form. She sees Helion, whatever. In
Helion.
he does the same thing.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Nesta, so she sees what's happening, and the king approaches, but Nesta doesn't do anything to him because not only does he approach, but he has their dad with a knife to his throat. So she's
Mm-hmm.
got her right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, I just love this part. Her father tells her that he loves her from the minute he held her as a baby, and that he's sorry for being a crap dad. And I just,
That was okay. I'm not gonna eye roll that one.
uh,
I did.
I and she bet and I like she again we see a little bit of emotion from her that we don't normally. She begs the king not to do anything to him, and like, I'll give you anything, like I'll give back what the cauldron took from me, just please don't hurt
Mm-hmm.
him. But then immediately he just like snaps her dad's neck. Here's my thing, being the king, I'm not saying that he needed to be like, okay, great, let's just end this now. But what did he see happening there? He knows that she took something from the cauldron that he's using because it's the most powerful source of magic that they have. Sure. She has part of that in her. What do you think pissing her off is going to do? Like, not a smart move, in my opinion. And it wasn't.
Yeah.
Cassian begins fighting with the king, but he starts losing. The king steps on his wing, shatters his wing bone. Again, another thing. What do you think is going to happen here? This guy's protecting her. I know he doesn't know like details, but like, so Nesta explodes her power.
Yeah. And
but the king winnows away.
Back though.
Nope, like not yet. He winnows away first.
Okay.
Doesn't get him.
Go on. My bad.
And then she grabs Cassian's sword to gain, but he quickly disarms her after that. And then slaps her across the face, which to me, Nessa's just getting beat, like at this point.
Yeah.
But then that's when she sends another like bolt of her power, and that's when it flies him back.
Yeah.
And Nessa tries to get Cassian up, and she's like sobbing, but he says he can't. He tells her to go, but she says she can't. So then she uses her body to shield him.
And he says like he has no regrets other than they did not have more time together. That was this point in my
and then he kisses her.
Ice cold heart melted a wee bit that day.
And he kissed her and then says he'll see her in the next life. Oh my God, Ellie, I cried way more at this part than I did like at any part, I think, up until this point in the book. Oh, and then the king goes to kill them, but then he suddenly stops. And Nesta looks up to see that the blade is through his throat, and Elaine had used Truth Teller to stab him through the neck. And this is why we rescued Elaine right here. This is the beginning of her redemption. Not really, but like she was good for something. You have to admit it.
She was just right place, right time, if you ask me, and a little bit too much time. But in the books following, they always say Nesta killed the king. They call her like the Kingslayer. Like they always say Nesta killed him.
I know.
Ma'am, she did not.
I know. I've always thought that too, but I think the reason they say that is because Elaine, he didn't die.
Of it.
She took the brunt of it. Well, he didn't die right away. She just stops because Elaine stabbed him in the throat, and so he's like gasp. I mean, he would have died if they hadn't done anything, I think. But then Elaine gets up, twists the knife, and beheads him. And holds up his head.
Did she seal the deal? Yes. Did she deliver the killing blow?
That's what I'm saying, though. If Elaine hadn't been there, I really think both of them would have died. So I agree, absolutely. Elaine killed him, and I don't understand why everyone gives Nesta all the credit. I absolutely agree with you. I was just saying, I think that's why they give Elaine
honestly, I even forgot that Nesta like beheaded him. But even with that, I'm still like, semantics. So then Nesta lifts up his head.
Watching all of this.
Yes.
But then Feyre's watching all this, and she sees that even with the king dead, the armies are still overwhelming them.
Yeah.
And Amren is like telling her to fight against it, girl. Like fight.
You got this, girl.
I hated how she called her girl. I'm just gonna say that. She called everyone. I hated that she's like, okay, girl, let's go, girl. I'm like, this is so condescending. And I know that that's her personality. I just didn't like
see it as condescending. I just saw it as like she is.
It was absolutely condescending.
Well, I saw it as she's like this old immortal. Like that's how she is. She just calls everybody that.
But she's passive aggressive, and that's why she's saying it.
Yeah,
it's not like a little old lady being like, okay, girl, help me, please. Like, it's not. Every scenario where she says it is she's being like really snarky.
Yeah, well, she's always snarky. That's why we love her.
You just proved my point.
All right. I'll give it to you. Let it be known. I give you this.
Thank you. It's published on the internet now, so you can't take it back. So then Amren tells Feyre that the message the Suriel told her to give to Amren was actually the unbinding spell, so that Amren could unbind herself from the Fae body and become her true form. And then at this point, it's all clicking together. Feyre realizes that they never actually all needed to touch the cauldron together. Like, Amren knew that this is what it was going to be the whole time. And realistic, I think they mentioned Varian's there, and he's like, no, don't. Like, he like walked up behind him. And
I didn't like
I
the
honestly could have
relationship.
done without that. I know. I agree.
Thank you. Like, it was, like,
No, it
weird.
felt forced.
Ew.
It
Yeah.
felt weird. Yeah. And I mean, again, think about it. Like, she's
Everyone
not
needs
Faye.
someone, though. Everyone needs someone.
Everyone does need someone, except you don't. I will say, though, I liked that she had someone. I don't. However weird it was, I did like that because she does. I think she says it right here. She talks to Varian and she said, because whatever she was before she became Faye is not like a person, but she
Mhm.
always would watch. There were humans where she was from originally. She would watch
Yes, I
them
was
and
gonna
she
bring this
liked
up
that
too.
that they like lived life and like did everything.
Mhm.
And she said to Varian that she thinks that he taught her how to love. And
Mhm.
I thought that was sweet. And so if that was the only like reason that SJM wrote this, I liked it. Um, but anyways, sorry, my voice is like
And
I don't
that's
know what
curtains for Melissa. I'll take over.
for better. No, anyways, so she says that like once she goes into true form, she probably isn't gonna remember them. So this is like probably the end as we know it for
Yeah.
Amryn. Um, did you think I know this is probably
Yeah,
the
you
easy
know my
answer. Did you
answer to
think that
this.
this was gonna be the end of it though? Like,
I
did
did.
you think it
I
was gonna
did
work?
because I think when we were going over this, I said it before. It's just this is the way the book was written, so I had no reason to
Yeah,
believe like, this is not going to work. Like it's very clear that this is what we were going towards. This is
yeah.
why Amryn was there. This is why that like it's all unraveled. So I'm like, there's no reason to not think this wouldn't work. It's gonna work.
I think the way she just writes, I'm just so skeptical of everything now. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like the cauldron doesn't actually turn into her own or old self or something.
Mhm.
That's why I asked, did you think it was gonna work? Because I don't ever trust anything is gonna work out
And I'm
anymore.
too trusting, and I keep getting like slapped in the face with new endings and twists.
But then in her doing that, the cauldron breaks into 3 pieces. Um
Yes.
and but then it works. She's unbound and she destroys all of Hybern's armies. And honestly, like it felt a little anticlimactic to me though, because it's like this whole big dramatic thing with Nesta killing the king just happened, and then all of a sudden she's like, "I'm a glowing bird," and then like kills everyone. And I'm like, what do they do now? But I guess that's where the cauldron splitting
Ugh,
comes in.
agree to disagree on this one. I thought it was pretty epic, and I was like, "We did it,
I'm not saying it wasn't epic. It
readers!
just felt like
We did it. We beat Hybern."
we fought him and we won.
Yeah,
No, I don't think it wasn't like epic. It felt like this all happened in like a couple sentences.
it. Okay, so Grant
It
actually said
felt
the same thing.
quick.
He was
That's
like, "It ended like weird. Like it ended too quick," and
yeah.
I will agree on some level of this. I do think it was. I say this with such caution. It kind of felt like a cop out ending of like I
Mm,
felt like it could have been written more crafty, more there was more
yeah.
plot twists, there were more oh, and they come
Yeah.
to
So
save
that's
and
what I'm
like
saying. Like
it.
it just came from this whole like revelation that the dad actually loved Nesta the whole time, and then she was about to sacrifice herself for
Yeah.
someone that we're like didn't see coming, and then Elaine, again, someone we don't see coming, comes out of nowhere and
Yeah.
is like kills him. I don't know. It just all of that to me, it felt so like boom, boom,
Yes.
boom, boom, and then the actual ending was just happened so fast.
Like if they could
That
have
was my
found a way to get the cauldron to like work on their side or like undermine
yeah.
Hybern and then it was unbeknownst to Hybern that they had all this extra power or something. But um shoot, I lost what I was going to say.
I don't know. I'm not. I liked this. I'm not saying it didn't feel
Oh,
like a cop out or anything to me. It just felt fast. That's
yes.
all.
So as much though as that like I didn't love this exact ending, this moment of the ending, I'm very much with the motto of it was the journey, not the destination.
It
Like I
was,
love this
as
book
Miley
because of
Cyrus would
how
say,
it's
it's
the
the
climb,
climb.
maybe. So it's how we got there of all these little
I
things
guess that's true.
happening. The mirror, the tattoos, the bargains, the weaver, everybody, all of that was so epic in itself that yeah, it ended this way. I might not have preferred it to end, but like who cares? It was so good anyways. And it's still a good ending. It just wasn't how I maybe would have wanted it to go.
All right. So then, because the cauldron split into 3, it created this void now. That I guess
Mhm.
this is where it picks up too. Like you think it's over, but not just yet.
Ah.
um, so Feyre realizes that like it's essentially like a black hole, like sucking everything in. And Rhys is now there. He appears because the battle had ended,
Mm-hmm.
and he tells her that she can use his power because she's tired, to help forge the cauldron together to stop the Maas from sucking
Mm-hmm.
everything up. Um, did you see what, like, did you anticipate what happened next?
No!
I did not either.
I can't. I just let me get this out. I genuinely, my heart is hurting just even thinking about this. Like, this is my command cry situation if I think about this. When I tell you, I wept. like, cried into my pillow, and Grant was like, "What is wrong?" And I was like, "You won't get it. You'll never get it." And I like was sobbing for at least 2 hours. Now here's the thing. I hate myself a little bit because I look up what's it called? The fan
Oh
art
yeah, fan art.
on Pinterest. So I know he lived. Like I
Yeah.
know. I wasn't under any illusion that like this was a permanent death. But the way it was written and how selfless, and like we already knew he was selfless, but just how
How he
everything
was like
Feyre,
sitting there, like she's like needing more power from him. He's sitting there going, "I love you."
that's
I
what it
like,
is.
I know, and
That's
all
what
this
it is.
stuff.
Every paragraph, she
Oh
would give her thoughts about like how she was nervous or whatever, and she just felt like this, and she would hear in the back of like behind her because he was
yes,
sitting behind her, holding her,
you
saying
can
like,
do
"I
this. I
love you."
love you. Yeah, you're
But
so
what we did,
strong.
so we're thinking, he's giving her a boost of encouragement because
Yep,
she needs to put all her power into fixing this cauldron and both of theirs. What we didn't realize is that his I love yous were a goodbye.
I know. Okay, I am gonna say something that most everyone will probably disagree with.
Okay.
Um, this was sad.
You're gonna make me
I
like punch you in the throat if you say anything other than like just leave it at that. Let's just leave it there. It was sad.
I didn't. I think it,
Don't.
but I didn't cry when I read this, and I almost was like, really, like when it happened. But I think it was like a shock factor for me because I think I'm reading this and I'm like, there's absolutely no way this guy can die. I didn't look up fan art, so I didn't really know. Like in theory, he could have died and that could have been the end of it. But like, I think my initial reaction for like not crying and not everything was more shock.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's because I'm like, there's just no way. Like he is Rhys, she is Feyre. They are this book. Like there's no way that he can die here. And I mean,
There
but
was a way because it was the end of the book.
yes, but I know there's two more, but I guess I mean that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And
Mm-mm.
I also, the way that these are written, I do think that she probably intended for these to only be the first three and for there to not be any more. So in theory,
Mm-hmm.
but that makes, to me, that's even more of a reason why he wouldn't die. You can't write this epic love story and just have him die in the last 50 pages.
I understand that that's how you think things should have gone, but how they actually went was he died.
No,
And
I understand that he died, but I don't know. I
for
wasn't
not
sad.
a tear,
No, and
heartless.
he was only dead for like 5 pages. He comes back, obviously,
Guys,
but it was,
5 too many pages if you ask me.
I agree, but I don't know. I just, this whole thing for me was not as sad as I think everyone else thought it was. But again, I just think I was so shocked. I just think I was shocked.
I just
Because
don't
I didn't
accept
see it
that
coming.
answer.
I agree with you. I did not see it coming when he was sitting there telling her I loves you and everything. I'm like, man, what an encourager. This guy's the best. Like, I didn't see that as a goodbye either. All these people that are like, I knew what was happening. I'm like, no, you didn't.
No, you
Like,
didn't.
you did not know.
No. There,
But
high five to that. We agree on one thing through this entire series.
that's not true. We've
Nobody
agreed.
knew.
We both don't like Elaine. We've agreed on
Yeah,
plenty.
that we do agree on as well.
I don't know. I just was like, this isn't actually happening. Like, there's no way this is real.
I accept your feelings if you genuinely were like, it's not happening. Like if you were just in denial, sure. I respect that. But if you were like, I don't really care.
No. It wasn't that I didn't care. It was
Goodbye.
truly no.
The podcast is over at this point.
I don't think I could ever read another book with you again.
No.
No, it absolutely wasn't that I didn't care. I just think it was like not in my head. It wasn't actually happening, and because it was so quickly that he came back, I also think, again, not fatigue, but we went through this exact same thing with Feyre under the mountain. She died,
I
was
didn't
dead
care
for a
about Feyre at
couple.
that point,
I
though.
know, I'm just saying, but she died. We cared for, or she was dead for a few pages and was brought back to life. So I think because that had already happened, and she's the other main person, I'm like, there's no way that's not going to happen. I don't know.
No,
I just think
no,
it wasn't.
no. I
Anyways,
think, okay, we'll
the high
let that lie.
the High Lords all come together. They give a piece of their power to Rhys, including High Lady Feyre. What up?
I loved, yes, what up, Feyre? I loved that it was a parallel to what Rhys had said, that Feyre was like, I will rip into every single one of your minds and take your power if you do not
Yes.
willingly give it. And that's what
Yes.
Rhys essentially did for Feyre too, is like, I will rip into every one of your minds. So
I
love
know. I
that.
agree. I do like that. But Tamlin was the last one there. Did you think that he would, because he was the last man standing?
Now you don't remember how I felt. I don't remember what I thought.
Yeah,
I
don't
just
know.
kept
I think
reading. I was not in a place to feel at this point. I was drained.
I think because I wasn't drained, I could have totally seen him. Again, we talked about how he's just toxic and goes back and forth. I could see him being like, I don't really feel like it. But we know that he didn't, and that I will say I do like that he says that like, because Feyre's begging him, she's like, I'll give you anything, and I like he does say, tells her that to be happy, and then gives it to him. No, just kidding.
I'll tell you, I cried again at that part because it was
that felt like a good ending for Tamlin.
It was the final piece of Tamlin in my heart. I was like, okay, we're gonna end with you being a
good guy,
but for like a worthy reason.
For me, this is all the redemption that he needed. If he wasn't in any of the rest of the books, I would have been completely
give him
happy.
A girl.
No. I don't know.
All right.
Him and but okay. However, though, I'm just gonna crap on one other thing in this part. I did not like. I know it's Rhys is funny or whatever, but I didn't like that. Like, once he came back, he makes a joke to tell the High Lords. He's like, "Don't worry, my power remains mine. Like, you didn't give me any of yours." What? Like, how? I realized that Feyre was immortal and she had no power, so she kept their power. But how does that even make sense if they gave him some of their power, but then his body was like, nah, here you go. Here's your power back. But it resuscitated me and brought me back to life.
I'm 100% in agreement with you.
That it just felt dumb. Like, I feel like she just could have not said it. I mean,
it was cop-out writing again, in my opinion. And I love her, and I'm so sorry because I love her.
It wasn't cop-out writing, because if she didn't say something, then we would think that Rhys got even more power. So I understand why she felt the need to say something. Yeah. I just didn't like.
But it's an inconsistency because, and that's what I don't like. That's why I'm saying it's a cop-out, is like, they could have found another way for Rhys to live. Like, they didn't have to do that. They could have been like, he never died in the first place, or like Feyre freaking blasted him with the love in her heart or something like that, and he lived.
Yes.
They didn't have to be this, but because it was this, it's a cop-out to say that, like, oh, but he didn't get any of their power. Yes, he should have. If she got
gave it to him.
He should have. Yeah.
I agree. No, I agree. And
then to be like, I didn't get it, like, that's the end of that. Like,
this is the perfect segue into how I wanted to end this episode, because in my, again, humble opinion, the book should have ended here. That's where it should have ended, and it should have been done. I think from this point on, everything else that happens was an absolute waste of ink and should not have been written. I feel like it kind of, because it's so unnecessary, it like taints the rest of the story, in, again, my opinion, because from here on out, this is where then Rhys goes, hey, I have another surprise for you. And then he tells Feyre that, like, when he was dying, he also saw Amren dying, and they were both in the cauldron, and he was like, let me just reach out my hand and see if I could bring her back. So he does, and then she's high fae now because she died to who she truly was. But she's back. I'm just like, that is so dumb. If you're gonna bring her back,
yes,
like,
they didn't leave enough sacrifice. Like, if you're going to kill off a character and we're all sad about it, leave
her
dead.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I like Amren, and I like her being a part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's how you want, and I know maybe SJM didn't anticipate this like becoming more, which is another reason why she should have just stayed dead. But if you're gonna bring her back, don't like then she shouldn't have sacrificed herself to save everyone. So she either have her stay dead or have the armies like have them won in a different way.
Sure.
I don't know. I didn't like it. And then just to summarize what everything that happens next, that I feel like everything it could have done without, or could have been in the next, or could have been in the next book.
Clarify, Melissa's thoughts do not reflect the thoughts of the podcast in this moment.
They reflect half of the thoughts.
Half of the podcast agrees with her thoughts. Her half.
So after the war, they have a giant meeting with all the High Lords, princesses, humans, Fae, whatever. Feyre called them all together. They want to renegotiate the treaty. They don't agree on anything yet, but she tells them her story, and then Miriam and Drakon tell everyone theirs. She also gets to talk with just her, Rhys, Miriam, and Drakon. Like they all get to know each other. Nessa's back to now being quiet, not talking to any of them. Feyre gives Lucian a note for Tamlin that says thank you and says she wants him to be happy too. Chapter 81 was a waste of my time. It's just from Rhys's point of view.
Tell us
and
how you feel.
It was basically just him listening to his friends talk and laugh.
That's so
we get it. You're alive. But I don't know.
You're hateful.
I'm not hateful. It was dumb. I don't know.
We get it. I'm not hateful.
And then they go on the roof, and he tells her that he heard her in death, and it's what made him hold on.
Why are you acting like that? Who hurt you? Hey man, hold on.
Sarah J. Maas hurt me. They make a bargain that when it's time to go, they'll both die, which
we needed this.
Red alert. I don't know.
Red alert.
He tells, and this is another. Okay, but here's the thing. Here's another reason why I feel like, or actually, here's a reason why I feel like Sarah J. Maas never fully intended for the story to end here, because he says that Bryaxis vanished, so they're gonna have to go find him at some point and return him. So you can't just end the book without everything coming together. That's a loose end. And then they go flying over Valaris together, and I don't know. It was like multiple chapters of things that
also we
didn't change the storyline at all.
Vasa asked Feyre straight up, like, you're going to free me from this
and
curse I'm in, which
Feyre tries, but
made me think that was going to be another book.
Exactly. And so
which they haven't done anything with that yet, but
I know. Again, all of this, it just was like, I feel like if she had ended it after the war, like after Rhys came back, whatever, it was a happy ending. They're together, boom, done. Then they kind of gradually touch on all this stuff in the opening of the next one. It would have been a way better transition instead of like forcing all this random fluff at the end. I don't know. It just felt useless to me. I didn't like it.
Good conclusion. I thought I needed it because, again, I was on such a freaking roller coaster, and I'm devastated and broken and just shattered.
Exactly. You're like trying to recover emotionally.
But then she helps
reading
she's
like nonsense.
Hey, all that we fought for was to have this life together where I could just love my family and be here. And that's why I think that chapter of Rhys listening to his friends talk and laugh is so important, because I think that
could have been like a page, not a chapter. It's like a reward. I don't know. Right. And I hated that they all got together to meet, but then they didn't agree on anything. Why write that in? It literally could have referenced they all got together and couldn't agree on anything. Moving on. Like, I think I'm reading, I know I've talked about this now, but I'm reading the For Blood and Ash series, and I love the way that author writes. I actually think I might like her writing style more than Sarah J. Maas. It's very similar.
You speak that blasphemy in the midst of
well, I'm in the midst of reading that.
Of Wings and Ruin.
Here's why. They are almost exactly the same in how they write, like, dramatic things that happen and like plot twists and all that stuff. Like, it's very similar, but Jennifer. I think Jennifer A. I'll double check her name, but
Last
the
name
way
starts with an A.
yeah, it's like
Middle name's an L, I think.
oh yeah, you're right, Jennifer L. And then it's a whatever. The way she writes, there's a lot more dry humor in
Mhm.
it. And it's like the main character will be talking or whatever. It's like, yeah, I totally agree with that. And the next sentence will be like, I didn't. And then like just keep going. I think it's hilarious. Like I love the way she does that because it's how I think internally.
Yeah.
But she also doesn't do crap like this. Like it's not like this pages and pages of this meeting together where and then at the end they don't agree. It's
Okay.
like she'll just be like, we met and we didn't agree, and so then moving forward we did this. Like, and that's it. And I don't know.
So it's to the point.
Yeah, there's very little fluff, but she still has a lot of good story in her book. And I think that's why I don't know. I love Sarah J.
Well,
Maas.
maybe we'll do that one after Fourth Wing, but I'm still on a Sarah J. Maas kick because, again, I'm still reading Kingdom of Ash, the 8th book of Throne of Glass series.
Yeah.
My heart is shattered. She's truly outdone herself in this series, genuinely. People said, I like this series better than A Court of Thorns and Roses, and
you didn't know how that was possible.
I didn't know how that was possible. And I still kind of am on the fence, but this book is bringing it home. If I may say so myself.
I'm stating here I haven't read Throne of Glass yet, like the series. I haven't read Crescent City. I'm very excited to. I love Sarah J. Maas. I'm not at all saying that she isn't talented or shouldn't be writing or anything. I just did not like the way this book ended personally. Yeah. I think I've loved everything else that she's done. I just didn't like I don't know. I don't feel like there's any unnecessary fluff in the last book that we have in this or anything. It's just this was the only part of this entire series I really could have done without.
Yeah.
And that's that on that. I love this book. I still love it. I'm very excited. I think next episode we're just gonna do the entire 4th book because it's short and we can.
Yeah.
So read that quickly.
Yes. Okay. The next one is going to be the Court of Silver. Wait, Frost and Starlight.
Yep.
And then the week after is going to be no. The week after is going to be the beginning of Silver Flames. But then the week following is our Halloween special.
Yes, the week because Halloween is on a Monday, right? Or is it on Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Oh yeah, Halloween's on a Tuesday and our episodes come out on a Monday. So the Monday before Halloween, we're taking a break.
Yeah.
From Of Court of Thorns and Roses, and we're going to do our Halloween special where we're going to talk about spooky stories that we've read and or have heard.
Yes, love it.
But yeah, excited about that.
What's your Halloween costume this year?
I don't know. Okay, we had this whole thing planned. Holland really wanted, for the longest time she was saying she wanted to be Rapunzel. So then we were going to have Eden be Pascal and Zeke was going to be Flynn Rider, and I was
Mother Gothel.
Mother Gothel, or I was even going to do maybe Maximus somehow. I don't know, like just something within, like there's a lot of options for us to do.
Yeah.
But then she changed her mind, and like Holland doesn't just go with the flow. If she doesn't want to do something, she's 3, but like there's no way we would stay home. Like there's no way we would force her into this costume if she doesn't want to wear it. Mm-hmm. And so she doesn't want to do that anymore. Now she wants to be Boss Baby.
I don't know. That's not that funny, but like
no, it's funny, and
that's so funny. Holland being in this little suit.
I bought her the suit. I got it. I'll have to send you a picture. It is hilarious. I love that she wants to do this, but does not. I was like, Holland, what do you want Eden to be? She goes, Templeton. She wants Eden to be Tim, the older brother.
Well, she has to be then.
And then she wants me and Zeke to be the parents. But I'm like, what do we wear? Clothes? Like,
yes, you do, and it makes all the sense in the world. I love it.
I'm just saying, I don't really know if we're gonna dress up now, and I have no idea what I'm gonna have Eden be because I'll probably just have her be something cute that doesn't
have her be like
match.
the stork or something.
Aren't storks in that show in the movie? That's a different. Storks is a completely different movie.
Oh, I'm all over the place. All right.
Yeah.
Well, ask me.
Okay, Ellie, what are you gonna be for Halloween?
Originally, we were gonna be Grant and I, Coraline and YB.
Okay.
But we were both gonna have like button eyes. Cute. And I was debating whether we do like the like actual prosthetics where like you do the, Elmer's glue and tape your all that. But then he 180'd me last night and goes, we were watching Haunted Mansion, the new one. major plug because that's one of my favorite movies of all time now. It's so hilarious. I love Owen Wilson and Danny DeVito. It's fabulous. But Danny DeVito's character, when they first show him, is in an all clear rain outfit. He's got a clear hat, clear glasses, clear rain jacket, and
no one's gonna know this reference though.
Oh, he'll know, and then he'll make a big comment about it to everyone. So he literally has all that in the Amazon cart, and he's
That's
like, "I'm ready to go." But then what am I supposed to Coraline by myself? That's so lame.
See, that's where I'm at. I'm like, we had this whole like group costume planned and figured out, and then Holland ruined it.
Yeah.
But,
yes.
Oh, I also, sorry, not to like circle back to me again, but he carries a briefcase around, and I'm not about to buy her a briefcase, but I found a black laptop sleeve that looks like a briefcase that I'll use for my computer, and I'm gonna have her use that to be her candy.
I love it. I love it. That's so cute. Take lots of pictures.
I will.
All right.
Hope we're a couple weeks in advance, but hope you guys have a fun Halloween.
Yes.
Let us know what your Halloween costumes are. If anyone is dressing up like anything from A Court of Thorns and Roses, tell us. I'm so excited.
Immediate shout out.
I wanted to do something like that, but I just it's not gonna work for me this year. So
yeah.
couldn't.
Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Yep. I think we have TikTok. Who's to say?
We have one. We've been slacking.
That's okay.
By we, I mean me. But we have one.
Leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to our podcast.
Yes. All right. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye, everyone.